When, where, and from whom did you learn to care?
Although I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania as a post-war baby boomer in 1946, my family moved to Fayetteville, Arkansas in 1951. I learned to care from my mother, who was a practicing nurse and had a powerful influence on my life. Additionally, the community of Fayetteville, Arkansas is singularly unique in the nation in that it is the first integrated school community south of the Mason-Dixon line after Brown versus Topeka Board of Education in 1954. We were a diverse community because of the University of Arkansas in the northwest corner of the state of Arkansas, and this unique situation wherein we were a bastion of racial tolerance in a sea of racism, hatred, and bigotry. My mother and other people in the community had a powerful influence on me in the values that they imbued upon me, which were integrity, respect, responsibility, citizenship, caring, and fairness. My mother's practice as a nurse, her treatment of all types of patients in our beautiful community of about 20,000 at the time, with 10,000 university students, impressed me every day of my life. I was able to watch her, how she dealt with other human beings, those who were rich and powerful and those who were impoverished and loving. All of her influence affected me in an understanding of what it means to be respectful of others and caring. I can remember as if it were yesterday, as a small boy, when patients who couldn't afford to pay for the treatment they received, paying in bushels of corn or a basket full of apples or a cord of wood, and having my mother explain to me why they couldn't afford to pay and why, like every other human being, they were entitled to a quality of life that she thought that she could provide. I had an opportunity during those periods of time to meet her patients, to talk to them. And throughout my life, from as early as Little League Baseball until I left to come in the Marine Corps at age 18, I had an opportunity to be in this integrated environment with other primarily African American athletes who could be all Americas in our nation but could not be all district or all state because of the color of their skin. Because of that, we were all victims of some type of racial intolerance. And because of that, many of my fellow teammates joined with me in understanding we had a moral responsibility to do the right thing, even when it impacted our lives, even when our own lives were threatened, to ensure that we were taking care of not only our fellow athletes, but trying to inspire other people to care about human beings and to respect them.
How have you remained true to those values in the face of people who didn't and don't care?
Obviously, with my experience in growing up in the environment, a bastion of racial tolerance in a sea of racism and hatred, the inspiration provided by not only my mother, but my teachers and coaches, religious leaders, many mentors and role models enabled me to understand that the difference not only between right and wrong, but the requirement that to demonstrate in a personal level your commitment to caring and respecting other human beings. Having been burned in effigy as being an N lover while I was in high school as a student athlete by people from a neighboring town, it affected me when I left my community and went into the United States Marine Corps in 1965. And the transition from what I would call a wonderful growing up experience, challenged by people who had hatred in their heart, who not only didn't care, but despised people of color. It afforded me the opportunity to be able to understand right and wrong from the outset. Going to Vietnam, serving in harm's way, in combat like my stepfather, a prisoner of war of World War II who relished life and the gift of life, I was confronted with man's inhumanity to man, the banality of war, and what it takes to learn to love one another and to respect one another. I think it's what makes all people who have to serve in harm's way, whether they be soldiers, sailors, airmen, or Marines, to clearly understand that not only do we have to respect one another and also care for one another, but you have to learn to love one another. So in my environment at an early age, I understood that if each of us acted not only within ourselves with our value systems, for me, integrity, respect, responsibility, citizenship, caring, and fairness, but to export those values on every opportunity we had to those in my environment. And it was successful. I was meritoriously promoted to the rank of corporal on the battlefield for actions of performing under combat stress. And it reinforced that I knew that I was on the right path in regards to not only having this value system for myself, but also the responsibility I had to export it to others. That held with me throughout my military career. I was later commissioned as the youngest officer in the Marine Corps at age 20 without a college degree. And because I was confronted with people who came from all kinds of background, both in wartime and peacetime, I knew that I had to step forward with my values day in and day out. And the longer I stayed, the more rank I attained, the more education I received. Going back to Arkansas to get an undergraduate degree in history from the University of Arkansas, and subsequently 3 master's degrees, one in public administration, one in international relations, and one in international security affairs, enabled me to leverage my academic background, expertise, education in a global scale in dealing with all kinds of people from throughout the world. Rising to the rank and privileged to become a general officer in the Marine Corps, serving as a commander of thousands of Marines, serving as the strategic policy and planning person for the United States in the Pacific, 44 countries from Mongolia to New Zealand, Madagascar to Washington, during the Clinton administration, and seeing all types of different cultures, all types of different views in the world, all types of people with different religious backgrounds. It reinforced my basic value system and enabled me to deal with discord, people who completely thought differently than I did, who harbored deep tendencies toward not only not caring about people, but disregarding their need to exist on planet Earth. And having those early life experiences and growing to the opportunity to be around billions of people literally reinforced my understanding that you have to step forward, do the right thing, even under adverse conditions. It was very fulfilling for me, as it is to this day, very fulfilling. I relish the opportunity to be able to deal with people much more in a persuasive style, not a dictatorial style, and I continue to do it to this day.
What does this part of who you are mean to you?
Well, today, at age 66, I now am in the stage of life where I have an opportunity to bring all of these life experiences, all of this caring, and give back. We're in the earlier years of my life, I was, as a passionate idealist, trying to persuade people to understand the value of human life and the reason we all need to care. Now, by my commitment in life, I have an opportunity to give back. As I mentioned in the introduction, I'm currently the Executive Director of Military Partnerships and the Associate Vice President for Veterans Research at the University of South Florida. In that capacity, I co-chair the committee called Veterans Reintegration, which assimilates young men and women who've selflessly served our country during these 12 years of protracted war in Iraq and Afghanistan, to assimilate not only into our great university, the 9th largest in the country and ranked number 4 in the country for being, quote, veteran friendly out of 4,000 colleges, but also to work with some great scientific researchers and clinicians who are subject matter experts in traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress, amputations, prosthetics, robotics, family resilience, family violence, alcoholism, drug addiction, and it's ensuring me that at this juncture in life, I can be a part of holistically looking at these issues and giving back. what I've learned and experienced from dealing with veterans from all services and those still on active duty in the military is that really all they're looking for is an opportunity. Having selflessly served our country, some paying the supreme sacrifice of losing their life, and others who've survived those experiences, all they want is an opportunity. They're looking for people who not only care, but understand the differences as non-traditional students and their requirements to be able to assimilate both in the classroom and back into society to become major contributors to our way of life here. So for me, the caring that I've have been exposed to since my early childhood and the opportunity to give back now at age 66 enables me to bring all of those life experiences together to listen effectively, to be able to understand the challenges that some young men and women are dealing with, and to be able to vector them toward whether it be medical help or whether it just be a kind ear to listen with some sage counsel under the rubric of mentorship. I feel fulfilled in life and will continue to do this. We're currently trying to raise $200 million in a public-private venture to build a one-of-a-kind facility at the University of South Florida, which all under one roof, a 350,000 square foot, 10-story building, will enable research scientists, clinicians to be able to deal with the issues on an advanced level of traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress, amputations, physical therapy, prosthetics, robotics, and family resilience to ensure that we too give back to this population. We're adjacent to the largest polytrauma center in the Veterans Administration system, the James A. Haley VA Medical Center here in Tampa, Florida. It has over 530 beds treating those who are blind, burned, paralyzed, amputees with traumatic brain injuries. We're also nearby to the Bay Pines VA Medical Center in St. Petersburg, Florida, which is ranked 4th in the country in its volume, but is noted for dealing with military sexual trauma and treating men and women who've been sexually assaulted either before they entered the military or while they were in the military. With the research scientists and clinicians that we have at the University of South Florida, collaborating with the research scientists and clinicians treating these young men and women and these two major facilities in the country, we are able to give back even more and demonstrate caring for these men and women who selflessly served our country. And for me to play a role in bringing that to the fore, to deal with these issues, is a great fulfillment for my personal life right now.